Welcome to the CITI program's Research Focus series.
In this presentation, Dr. Megan Hochstrasser from the Innovative Genomics Institute at the University of California, Berkeley, is going to discuss CRISPR genome editing, rewriting DNA and the future of humanity. Megan has a BA in biology from Brown University and received her PhD from Jennifer Doudna's lab at UC Berkeley in 2016, where she studied mechanisms of CRISPR immunity in bacteria. She joined the Innovative Genomics Institute in September 2016, hoping to bridge the gap between researchers and the public. Megan develops educational resources and programs, spearheading everything from mobile app development to community event planning. She regularly gives talks to students, teachers, scientists, journalists, physicians, and more. As a CRISPR expert and professional science communicator, Megan brings diverse audiences into the conversation about genome editing.
So the learning objectives for my talk will be to let you describe how CRISPR genome editing lets scientists rewrite the genetic code. You'll be able to explain how editing the genomes of various organisms, including humans, can help scientists learn about nature, develop disease treatments, and make agriculture more sustainable. And last, we'll discuss the ethical and philosophical questions associated with genome editing. So this all starts with DNA. This is kind of the most important molecule in biology, I guess, in my opinion, and what you really need to understand in order to know why CRISPR matters. So DNA is essentially a blueprint for life. It's the instructions that let cells and organisms grow and reproduce and function. So if something is going awry in DNA, then there will be consequences for the organism. This is basically how all of life is controlled. So there are a few different groups trying to sort of talk about oversight and regulation of this potential germline editing. And there have been a few landmarks. I'm just pointing out two here. So in 2017, the National Academy of Science in the US came together and put out this report about human germline editing, or actually about human genome editing, but more specifically, it was mostly about germline editing. And that was sort of a start. And that told people, this is not great to do right now. We're kind of hitting pause. It's not safe to do. We're not ready. Don't do it yet. But then that CRISPR baby scandal happened. So it was clearly happening anyway. And so we need kind of a renewed interest in this. And luckily, the World Health Organization, or the WHO, put together this committee to start thinking about practical standards, not just saying, hey, wait, don't do it yet. We need to talk more, but actually putting things down on paper to say, how can we go about regulating this? How can different countries come together and have similar policies so that there's no medical tourism? How can we do this responsibly? So they've just released this initial framework report about how to potentially govern germline editing. It's really long. It's pretty interesting. I think there's going to be more to come on that front that's a little bit more applied. So it's a really tough problem to think about how to, stop people from doing something you don't want them to do, or even probably tougher to decide which things should be done, since people have all sorts of different opinions. And I'm not sure where we're going to end up on this, but I think we're kind of moving finally sort of in the right direction towards a more applied and practical discussion. All right, so just to summarize, researchers can now reprogram the CRISPR-Cas9 system to find and make a cut at any place in the genome, triggering a change to the DNA code, aka genome editing. Also, CRISPR can do a ton of different things. We can fix mutations in DNA to treat genetic disease. We can potentially make changes in food crops. There's all sorts of things. I could talk for 5 hours about all the different applications of CRISPR. And last, where we draw the line on which uses of genome editing are or are not okay should, in my opinion, be up to everyone to think about, discuss, and decide. A lot of what I do is aimed at trying to get people up to speed on the technology and some of the possible uses so that they can be informed enough to kind of weigh in and share their opinion on where we should be going with this.
Please also be sure to visit citiprogram.org to review our content offerings, as we are continually adding new content in various areas of research, ethics, compliance, professional development, and higher education.